Do you need to go to school to be a music producer or a beat maker? No, you don't need to go to school to be a music producer or a beat maker. I had a young lady call me this morning. She was more or less seeking some advice. She was trying to make a career change out of another field, out of a medical field to be specific, into to go with her passion and to become a music producer. She said she's always, loved music, something she's always wanted to do, but she just never, either had the opportunity, time, whatever. And she was just curious, is it something that she had to go to school for? More specifically, she sent me a web link to a school. I forgot the name of them, and I think it's probably irrelevant to the conversation. But the school or the institution was charging like $12,000 for a program. I'm almost 100% it was not accredited because, first of all, what school that costs $12,000 is accredited? Very few, I'm sure. And then also, there's not too many schools, even though hip hop's a part of our culture, there's not too many schools that have like a degree in hip hop beat making per se. You may be able to get a music degree. But so she was asking, is it worth $12,000 to pay this institution to go to learn about beat making, to learn about mixing, producing, to learn how to use Ableton, all these different things. My answer to her unequivocally was that, well, let me just preface this. I can't say whether, in and of itself, the actual knowledge that you would get from going to this particular institution, whether that's worth $10,000 or $12,000. It very well maybe could be. It could be worth 10. It could be worth 20. It could be worth 100. I have no idea, because knowledge is not often. There's not a direct correlation with the amount of money you spend with the knowledge or experience you're going to get. But unequivocally, I could probably pretty much tell her almost 99% that if she spent that $12,000 with this institution, it would have probably little effect on her success as a music producer or as a music creator. I think if you're on YouTube and you're watching this video, you probably know that maybe already, maybe you don't. Maybe that's why you're here. Again, there's nothing wrong with spending money on an education, but the point that I'm trying to drive home is will that amount of money that you spent, what will the return on investment be? What's the likelihood that you will see a return on that investment? Anything is possible. You possibly can see a return on that investment, but what's the likelihood? It's probably very little, because your success as a music creator is probably going to have a lot more to do with you, the things you're doing, the commitment that you're making to it, the consistency that you're making. That's with just about anything, but even more so with this. Your success as a music creator, producer, beat maker is going to have more to do with you than it is that degree or that piece of paper. Now, again, I preface this with saying that the amount of knowledge that you can get from paying for an education, that's also largely dependent upon you. But this particular individual was more or less asking me just general question, is it worth it to spend that? And the real answer is it kind of depends. If you're an individual where you either come from a wealthy family or you just have some wealth, and $12,000 is not a lot of money to you, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't use whatever means you have to learn whatever you have to learn. Now, we all know you could get on YouTube, and there's some content creators on YouTube that have great video tutorials, all that stuff for free. So you could damn near learn just about anything you want to learn, whether it's guitar, music production, publishing. It's really out there for free. And these content creators are getting paid, by YouTube ads, and YouTube wants to keep you on their platform, so they do everything they can to help, content creators succeed. But the point is the content creators are giving it to you, the end user, pretty much for free. You just have to consume it. So I was trying to tell the young lady that $12,000 that she might spend going to this organization, she could make a menial investment, $200 to $500, because she already has a laptop. She could get an interface, and most interfaces come with free software, as a lot of you may already know, a free light version of your Cubase, Pro Tools, Ableton, Digital Performer, Autodesk, whatever. So for $250, probably even less than that, to be honest with you guys, I think a cheap interface might cost you $99. You could literally get an interface, plug it in your computer, download a software or install it, and start watching somebody's online tutorials on how to use it. You may not stick with Ableton. You may not stick with Digital Performer. That's fine. That's all part of the learning process, is seeing what you like and what software or what tools resonate with you. There's no particular right tool. I think any successful producer, at least in hip hop, will probably tell you that. It's just whatever gets the job done. Hit songs have been made on a cell phone nowadays. I think the guy that, the Old Town Road, the guy that has the country rap song, I want to say I read where he got that beat like offline, off like a, $30 download site. So the point that I'm trying to simply make is that it's hard out there for producers. But that shouldn't deter you. You have just as good a chance of anybody as making it as a producer. But I think that when you talk about spending a significant amount of money, you want to make sure that that amount of money has a return on that investment. You could buy a nice laptop. You could basically build a nice studio for $3 or $4 grand very easily nowadays. Much less than that, but if you had $3 or $4 grand just to kick around, and that would be a much better return on your investment. Now, the young lady was also saying that this particular institution, they provide a lot of the equipment for you. For 12 grand, I'm not sure what they're providing because it didn't really look, but I can almost bet, it's not going to be like the latest MacBook Pro, whatever the case may be. It wouldn't make much economical sense in my mind. So, but I'm sure they do provide probably some things, some tools. The thing about that though is she was saying that it's great that they provide the tools because they'll always give you the latest version or whatever, and they'll, walk with you every step of the way. Well, tools and software, there's new software that comes out every single day. So to keep current, I don't know too many companies that are going to keep furnishing you with updated software, or even hardware, because it may not be economically feasible to do that. And some of these schools that are popping up now that are doing all this online training, things like that, there's nothing wrong with that. But you don't know if they're going to be there a year from now, 6 months from now, or whatever. And that's totally fine. That's totally cool. The question at Bay was about this particular institution and what they were charging. But the greater question is, do you need to go to school to be a producer? No. If you can afford to go to school to learn some type of education or whatever, go for it. Don't get in debt to do it. Don't borrow money. Don't, some of these institutions have where they'll make it easy for you to borrow or to get the credit that you need to do that. Don't do that. You're just going to end up in debt, okay? And, there's interest along with that, and you're not guaranteed that you're going to make a return on that investment. And the bigger thing is you could do all that without that particular education. So not here to knock on education. We're strictly talking about the amount of money that you spend and the return on your investment, and can you afford to spend that money? Okay? There's nothing wrong with going to Harvard and spending $300,000. If you got $300 million, it's all about percentages. But if you only make 30 grand, or your mom and dad only makes 40 or 50 grand, or 100 grand or whatever, $100,000 is a lot. You know what I'm saying? So think about those percentages. If you make 100 grand and you want to throw 10 grand at going to a school, go for it. I mean, that's up to you. But you don't need it to do what you're trying to do. Can it be helpful? Again, anything is possible. Whether it's likely or the return on that investment, I'm going to say, no, you don't need to go to school to be a producer. So I'll edit this video and put this at the beginning. No, you don't need to go to school to be a music producer or a beat maker. Should you go to school to be a music producer or a beat maker? If you can afford it, and it's very little cost based on your overall net worth. Okay? If your net worth is negative something, and most people's net worth is negative something because they have a mortgage, they have a car, they have a lot of debt, and their debt to asset ratio is flip-flopped. So no, most people could not afford to do it. They'll do it anyway, but can they afford to? Probably not. So no, I would get on YouTube. I would learn from these master beat makers that are showing you what they're doing already. I would ask somebody to be your mentor. I would do all these things first. I would spend a small amount of investment, get yourself an interface, some software, and use your computer you have at home. Learn about computers. Learn about computer maintenance. In fact, that $12,000 that you'll spend on learning how to become a beat maker, spend that, go to community college and learn about computers. Learn about websites. Learn about how internet marketing works. Learn about how YouTube works. That's a return on investment. There's people that make six figures that are social media folks for big companies because everything is about social media. So that's a way better return on investment than learning how to make a beat for $12,000 is what I'm trying to say. So the young lady that I was speaking with, she was telling me how she, like I said, she has no previous experience in music whatsoever. She doesn't know, anything about how to make a beat, how the music industry works, and that's why she felt like, hey, going to this institution will be beneficial to her because it'll give her everything that she needs to learn what she needs to learn and to be successful. Even if not to be successful, to just have the tools that she needs to fulfill her passion. Well, to learn the tools you need to fulfill your passion, not going to cost $12,000. Also, if you are going to spend some serious money, and I would say $12,000 is serious money to most people, you should look at it as, will it have a return on investment? Not just will it satisfy my curiosity, or maybe that's a little harsh, maybe not just give me tools to satisfy my passion is what I'm trying to say. No, when you're about to spend some money, you should be thinking about whether or not it's going to have a return on investment. Unless you're independently wealthy and 12 grand is nothing to you. Being successful in music has a lot more to do with being successful in life than it does to have anything to do with music, in my humble opinion. Some of you that are lucky enough to have grandparents or, parents that love you or whatnot, they can tell you a lot more about what it takes to be a successful producer, believe it or not, than a producer can. Yes, your grandmother, your grandfather, if you have the right grandmother and grandfather, they can tell you a lot more about what it takes to be a successful producer. Point in question. An older person will probably tell you, hey, you need to make relationships and reach out to people, family, whatever, on a semi-regular basis. Not just when things are going bad in your life and you need some money or you need some help, but, just when things are going good or just to be connected. That piece of advice right there will serve you well in the rest of the world too, because guess what? People that you connect with in the music industry, they're not always just trying to hear from you when they're doing good and you're trying to reach out to them. A lot of times it's nice when you just kind of reach out, randomly, or to see, if they need something. Again, this is just a life lesson, that something you would learn from a grandparent or a mentor has nothing to do with music. Because again, being a successful producer can oftentimes have little to do with producing any music. If I go to a website right now that allows me to buy a beat and have that beat in perpetuity, I can resell it to anybody that I want to, depending upon the license that I bought that beat under. And I didn't produce the beat, but if I can get it to the right person, I can say it's an Elliot Holden beat. So Being a producer, being a music maker, the music part is the small part of it. The life part of it, the relationship part of it, the business part of it, that plays a bigger part than just being able to make a beat. Take this information, whatever you want to do with it. Peace and hair grease. I'm going to leave you with some guitar playing because this wouldn't be an Urban Guitar Legend video without some guitar. So, peace.